Boston Bruins head coach Bruce Cassidy revealed Tuesday that Tuukka Rask is still feeling lingering effects from his offseason hip surgery, meaning the crease continues to belong to Linus Ullmark as the Bruins get set to host the Seattle Kraken for the first time in franchise history on Hockey is for Everyone night at TD Garden. All that and more on today's episode of Locked On Boston Bruins.
You're Locked On Bruins, your daily podcast on the Boston Bruins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Bruins fans, and welcome back to the Locked On Boston Bruins podcast. It's a daily show where I discuss all things spoke to be, as well as take a look around the NHL. Today is Tuesday, February 1st. Hard to believe it's already February. And I want to thank you so much for making Locked On Boston Bruins your first listen every day. January was the highest download month in the history of Locked On Boston Bruins, dating back to October of 2019. Each and every download, listen is so much appreciated. And please do smash that subscribe button on both your favorite podcast app and on YouTube if you have not already. The Boston Bruins are going to be in action tonight at TD Garden against the Seattle Kraken, the first time in franchise history that they will take on this expansion team. And this comes before a week-long break that will cover the All-Star game, which Patrice Bergeron will act as the Boston Bruins representative. So that will take place over the weekend. Looking forward to that. We'll tee that up later on this week. But today, wanted to discuss the top story in Bruins land, which is Linus Ullmark making his fourth straight start for the Boston Bruins tonight against Seattle. Head coach Bruce Cassidy revealed kind of what we've all been suspecting, and that is Tuukka Rask dealing with lingering effects from offseason hip surgery that have crept in. He hasn't played since last Monday, a loss to the Anaheim Ducks. Hasn't skated, in fact, and they're going to see where he is after the All-Star break and kind of reassess where things stand at that point. The Boston Bruins, again, they play tonight. They don't play again until next Tuesday night when they will host the Pittsburgh Penguins. So Linus Ullmark making his fourth straight start. Would have been not a surprise to see Jeremy Swayman get the start tonight. His first start since being recalled. He was pressed into action against the Dallas Stars after Ullmark was pulled in the 6-1 loss. Ullmark gave up 4 goals in that one. Swayman gave up 2. But I kind of like the decision to go back to Ullmark. Again, they have 6 full days off after tonight's game. Playing against the Seattle team that has struggled so far this season, struggled to put the puck in the net, certainly. And it's a good way to allow Ullmark to kind of shake that off and to enter the All-Star break on a bit of a high and not have to sit with that poor performance in Dallas for up to 10 days. Not that it was on him, and that's one of the reasons why Cassidy's going back to him as well, because it was a poor effort overall for the team, and wanted to send a message that he wasn't faulting Ullmark for that loss, that they believe in him right now. The way he's been playing, the stretch of starts that he's on, you could easily argue that Ullmark is the number one goalie. I know a lot of you would like to see that be handed to Jeremy Swayman, but for the time being, it is Ullmark's net, and he will be back in action against the Seattle Kraken team that is scoring only 2.61 goals per game. That's ranked 25th in the NHL. They are allowing 3.52 goals per game, which is fourth highest in the NHL. When it comes to shots, the Kraken only generating 28.3 shots per game, which is 31st in the NHL. And they are allowing, let's see here. Actually, they're pretty good at shot suppression, only 28.5 shots per game, which is 30th, just ahead of the Bruins at 29.1. But the Bruins are averaging 35.2 shots per game, which is, fourth in the NHL. So altogether, it's a good opportunity for the Bruins to cap off the unofficial first half of the season with the win. The Seattle Kraken, only 32 points so far this season, a .364 point percentage, which puts them 30th in the NHL. And again, a good opportunity for the Bruins to go into the All-Star break with a win, for Linus Ullmark to, not that he lost any confidence, but to feel good about his game heading into the break. If things go south for the Bruins, then, defeats the whole purpose of this. But I believe that is head coach Bruce Cassidy's intention in terms of putting Ullmark back in net. We'll talk about the lineup for tonight, as well as the special Hockey is for Everyone theme that will happen tonight at TD Garden as well. But first, a quick word about Bet Online. There may be less football being played, but betonline.net has way more odds and info for this playoff season. Scores, totals, player performance props, to where the next fired coach is going to land. BetOnline is the number one spot for all things NFL betting in 2022. They also have you covered for basketball, hockey, boxing, UFC. It's the best in the business, right down to your favorite Vegas casino games. BetOnline is your number one online wagering destination. BetOnline.net, the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports and play your favorite games, and it's where the game starts. Thank you so much for making Locked On Boston Bruins your first listen every day. Now make your second listen the Locked On NHL podcast. Locked On experts covering the biggest stories around the NHL every Monday through Friday in less than 30 minutes. Free and available on all platforms. Now, at the morning skate here on Tuesday, the Bruins were joined by Trent Frederick and Nick Foligno. They are not quite ready to go, however. So we'll have a lineup similar to what we saw on Sunday, but with some changes to the line trios. Craig Smith being bumped back up to the first line. He scored the Bruins' lone goal in that game against Dallas. So he'll play with Brad Marchand, Patrice Bergeron. Eric Howla still out on the COVID-19 list. So Thomas Nosek getting the bump up to the second line to play with Taylor Hall and David Pastrnak. The third line is the trio of Jake DeBrusk, Charlie Coyle, and Oscar Steen. And then we'll have Anton Bleed, Steve Fogarty, and Curtis Lazar on the fourth line. If it were me, I would have gone with these combinations for the game against Dallas. A lot of disruption that happened in the line combinations that game, and it's nice to see them going back to what has been working here in the new year. A lot of questions about why Fogarty is in the mix above a Jack Studnicka or a Zach Senyshyn. I believe the idea is to just continue to give those guys regular playing time at the AHL level to find their games down there. If it were me, I would have given the call up to Studnicka, put him on the second line with Hall and Pastrnak, two guys who can carry that line, and then put Nosek on the fourth line. But, I'm not the coach. I'm not behind the scenes, not quite sure how they are evaluating Studnicka's game at this point. If you look at his stats in the AHL this season, he's played in 25 games with the Providence Bruins. He has recorded 6 goals and 11 assists for 17 points. Fogarty, to his credit, does lead or is in a tie for the team lead in Providence in points with 23, tied with Cameron Hughes. Jesper Froden, Samuel Asselin have 21 points each. Oscar Steen had 20 points in only 16 games, so his call-up well-deserved. Zach Senyshyn has 11 goals, a team high, and 9 assists for 20 points in 31 games. So, interesting that they're going back to Fogarty. I thought he looked okay the other night, but I would have liked to have seen them promote Studnicka, especially for this home game where it's a bit easier to get to from Providence than Dallas. Tonight will be Hockey is for Everyone night at TD Garden. It's an NHL initiative in partnership with the You Can Play program. Uses the game of hockey and the NHL's global influence to drive positive social change and foster more inclusive communities regardless of race, color, religion, national origin, gender, disability, sexual orientation, and socio-economic status. It's great to see the Bruins participating in this initiative. The anthem tonight will be sung by Human Rights Campaign National Youth Ambassador Nicole Talbot. Talbot was assigned male at birth and has since transitioned into living authentically as a female in 2015. Passionate advocate for transgender youth, played a major role in passing and protecting anti-discrimination legislation in Massachusetts. Gavin Ford, who's a 14-year-old sled hockey player from North Reading, will be the kids' captain for the game. He endures spina bifida, a birth defect that impacts the formation of the spinal cord, making it nearly impossible to walk. That hasn't stopped him from playing hockey, and it'll be cool to see that take place as well. Some Bruins players will use rainbow tape during the warm-ups. All sticks will be auctioned off to the Boston Bruins Foundation, and the stick auction will benefit Boston Pride Hockey, New England's first LGBTQ plus hockey club. Founded in 1989, BPH has developed an inclusive community that provides a safe and welcoming environment for players to learn, enjoy, and compete in the sport they love. So great initiatives. Greg Sargent, the president of BPH, said, "We couldn't be prouder to partner with the Bruins, TD Bank, and You Can Play. Thanks to their continued support, the funds raised through the stick auction will directly enable the organization to bring dynamic and inclusive hockey programming to more LGBTQ plus players and allies throughout the region, like the recently launched Inclusive Hockey League and Youth Hockey Initiative, both of which are the first of their kind in New England." So very cool. If you can bid on those sticks, I would encourage you to do so. And just a great, again, to see the Boston Bruins participating in this initiative and to help raise more awareness. Again, I would argue that hockey is not yet for everyone. Just because they say it doesn't make it true. And it's up to us to back these initiatives and to make it a reality in our own communities, in our own lives, in our own youth hockey programs and the like. But it's great to see the Bruins, supporting it and bringing some attention to this initiative. Before we move on to some news and notes from around the NHL, Quick word about Rock Auto. With the ever-increasing numbers of makes and models, it's impossible for your local chain auto parts store to stock all of the parts you need. You can save time and money by using Rock Auto. They're a family-owned business, and they've been serving do-it-yourselfers for over 20 years with amazing selection of auto parts. Their reliable prices are the same for every customer. And they have everything you could need, from brake parts, tail lamps, motor oil, even new carpet. I had to order a new gas cap for our family minivan, and it was incredibly easy to do so. And I would encourage you to discover your own solutions to your auto parts needs at Rock Auto. Go explore their easy-to-use website today. Find the solution to your auto parts needs. Please do write Locked On in their "How did you hear about us" box so they know we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need at rockauto.com. Yesterday, the NHL and the Players Association announced an update on their COVID-19 protocols. Among the notable changes is the removal of enhanced measures. They'll revert back to start of season protocols. So removal of daily testing for fully vaccinated players, removal of the requirements to test close contacts, updated recommendations for the type of masks, and steps to reduce community exposure. Hopefully that will help to stem postponements. Although, yeah, it's still good to be tested even if you're vaccinated, because asymptomatic people can pass it on to those who are more vulnerable to COVID-19. The NHL also announced the skills competition for the upcoming All-Star Weekend. They will feature events on the Las Vegas Strip and in the Bellagio fountains, not made famous, but, as seen in Ocean's 11. Patrice Bergeron met with the media this morning. I was hoping to ask him if he had any preference for the event that he would take place in, or if he knew what he was going to be doing yet, but unable to ask him that at this point. But it'll be cool to see him in whatever competition he is assigned. Again, I wasn't sure if he was going to be going to the All-Star game. Sometimes it's, more desirable to get the rest, take the weekend off. It does result in a 1-game suspension if you kind of wink, say you're injured or can't participate. But it looks like he's going to go, possibly his last chance to take part in this All-Star game. Anyways, that is it for today's episode of Locked On Boston Bruins. The big story for this team today: Tuukka Rask suffering a setback in his recovery from offseason hip surgery. Linus Ullmark getting his 4th straight start. We'll have to see, after the All-Star break, whether or not Rask is able to come back, whether or not the Bruins are willing to give him more time to find his game, or if this plan is scrapped and they go back to Swayman and Ullmark as the kind of goalie tandem of the present and the future for the Boston Bruins. I hope you're all doing well, having a great week. It is, going to be some time off here. If you're looking for something to watch, Yellowstone fans, if you haven't seen 1883 yet, I would highly recommend that. It's a great prequel, probably better season right now than Yellowstone's 4th season, to be honest. We started watching the Showtime documentary on Bill Cosby last night, which is pretty harrowing, but very interesting. And what are we going to watch tonight? Well, the Bruins game, of course. Bruins, Kraken, 7 p.m. Eastern. Thank you so much for making Locked On Bruins your first listen every day. Go check out the Locked NHL podcast. Check out the Locked On Bets podcast if you need help with your daily plays. And please do subscribe here if you haven't already. We'll be back tomorrow to recap the Kraken game, to talk about the Bruins through 43 games. update the Eastern Conference power rankings at the All-Star break. Later on this week, we'll do a mailbag too. So send some questions to @Ian McLaren or @LockedNHLBruins on both Instagram and Twitter, and I'll be sure to answer those. Take care, friends. Have a great Tuesday, and go Bruins. Talk to you again tomorrow on the Locked On Bruins podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your favorite team every day.